Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today we are going to be doing a little bit of electrical work out here in the greenhouse. Finally, something I should have done long ago, but we're going to be adding some switches, outlets, and a few lights. It is a snowy, snowy day today. Go in the shelter, goat. That's why I built the shelters. You stand out in the snow for. Greenhouse is doing really well. So we probably have gotten, I'm going to say 8 inches of snow so far today, and the greenhouse has done just fine. This is the most amount of snow that we've had since I built the beam in here when the catastrophe happened last year, but it's doing just fine. So I tapped all the snow off. But today we have a little bit of electrical work to do. So what do we have here? I've got a bunch of boxes, cables, clamps, outlets, wire nuts, various things. We got some porcelain light sockets that we'll be putting in. I've got some plastic boxes we'll be using. These are actually, I'm probably going to use these metal boxes in the barn. I've got some, I want to add an outlet and a switch in there. I've got some 20 amp or 12-2 wire, and then I've got some of these Sansi lights. So these, if you have followed along, are the same light bulbs that I used in the brightest LED pole barn ever video. Link to that up in the card system there. These bulbs are awesome. I've worked with this company a few times, and they actually sent me more of these to use. The bulbs I've had in the barn are almost a year old, and they have been working very, very well. There you go, everything you need to know. 5,000 Kelvin, so they're more towards the daylight color. They consume about 22 watts each, and what is it? I think it's like a 250 watt equivalent, or a 3,000 lumen bulb. They're super bright bulbs, and man, are these things just amazing. I have 4 of these in a giant 50-foot or 60-foot pole barn, and they light up the entire barn. These are like a Cobb LED. They're an omnidirectional, so they will go in all directions. They're not just straight down. And these, I'm telling you guys, these things just light up some space. So if you've got a basement that's dark, you've got a garage, you've got a barn, throw a couple of these suckers in there and you will be surprised. I will put a link, as always, to these in the description. These are actually, these have been one of my most popularly clicked links in from the LED pole barn video. They're just an awesome little LED. So check those out, and this is what we're going to be using today. So let's talk about a couple things we're going to be doing here, and how and why I do them, and then we'll get started. We're going to take the hanging fan down. So maybe we'll put one right there when you walk in, and then right in between there, and then right over here above the maple syrup evaporator. I don't know, with that many in here, we might light up the whole yard. That'd be cool. So whenever I run circuits, I know a lot of electricians out there may disagree with me, and that's totally fine. But whenever I run a new circuit in this house, in the barn, in the garage, anywhere, I almost always run 12-2 wire, which is a good rated for a 20 amp circuit, instead of 14-2, which is what your 15 amp circuits are going to run. I just always want to add 20 amp circuits. 15 amp circuits I always have trouble with if I want to run a heater out here, let's say, if I want to run my table saw out here, if I want to run power tools at the barn, you know, my garage. The guy ran 15 amp circuits in our garage, which I think is completely silly. You know, we've got power tools, I've got other things running in there. I'm always tripping breakers. It just drives me nuts. So I always run 20 amp circuits. I'm even going to run 20 amp circuits to the lights in here, just because this whole greenhouse is just going to be on one breaker in the future. Right now it's going to be tied to the same breaker as the barn. So I don't actually have buried power coming from the barn out to the greenhouse yet. So what I've been doing is running an extension cord out here. I will continue to do that until the ground thaws and I can bury some wire over to the barn. I'm just going to use this plug for right now, and this is just going to get wired into the entry box or the initial box and switch for the lights and the outlets. And right now I just run an extension cord out and then just plug the greenhouse in basically to it. As soon as the ground thaws, of course, I'll get rid of this, and then we'll bury a nice 12 wire underground in some conduit or just deep enough in the ground, and we'll run it over to the barn. Said this before, always use the same screws on all your projects on your homestead or farm. These star bits from Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever are the absolute best screws. They're an outdoor indoor deck screw, and I always have the same one, so no matter where I am, no matter what I'm taking apart, no matter what I'm putting together, I can always just use this one star bit, and I can reuse these screws many times before they wear out or break. I have very few tools when it comes to plumbing and electrical and other things. I have a few things that I've used since I was a kid, and a few things that I've purchased more recently. This little ripper tool found at Home Depot. Actually, I put a link in this on Amazon also. I've talked about this thing before. I've had this for about a year, and I use it every time I get out any wiring. This thing is awesome. And then I got a little cheap pair of these wire cutters. I've probably had these things since I was in high school. You know, they probably cost $10. You don't need much to do these things. You don't need a bunch of expensive tools. This is a 20 amp GFCI, and so these are pretty simple to wire. You know, there's a line and a load. The line's going to be my plug coming in, and then my load will actually be the load going out to the rest of the greenhouse. And this GFCI will actually protect this outlet as well as the rest of the outlets and lights in the circuit. So this will be the first thing I put in here. Well, it's a new day. Got dark on me in here, and well, I don't have lights in here yet, so it is snowier and windier than yesterday, and colder, but it's still decent in here. Got this little temperature and humidity reader, digital thermometer, whatever you want to call it out here. Got this last summer, actually. It's been working pretty good. So it's about 29 degrees in here. It says the max was 33, and it is about 14 degrees outside right now. So there's about a 15 degree split on the temperature. Of course, most of the greenhouse is covered in snow again today, and it's cloudy, so not a lot of sunlight today. But we have much of our wire run here. We've got the first light socket run. We've got the second light socket here. I'm also going to put another outlet just right in the center, up at the top there. Hopefully that'll keep it out of the way. So I just need to continue my wire down from the center outlet and all the way down to my end outlet. That'll be right at the end of the greenhouse there. And then I just need to hit this last light up. So I just need to wire them in and power it up and see if everything works. I'm not sure how I ended up with a manila switch. I just grabbed the first 20 amp switch I saw. Oh well. And all this stuff is actually reused from outlets. I took them out of other places. So the GFCI came out of the tiny room renovation when I did that. And these all were extra from the basement renovation I did. You know, someone's already thinking it. Why aren't you using conduit in here? Well, I actually don't see the need of it. I could weatherproof and seal up all these sockets and outlets and run conduit in here. You know, just plastic conduit would probably be fine. But I really don't see the need of it. It does get humid in here, but I don't think it'll be enough to cause any issues. So we'll see how everything goes. Of course, that's why we put the GFCI out here, because if anything gets wet or starts to short out or anything like that, that'll trip and keep the circuit turned off. So should be fine. All right, we've got our GFCI and our plug to run our cord out here for now. We've got our switch and outlet by the door. You know, I really wish I would have done this the opposite way, and I had planned on putting the switch on this side and the outlet on this side. And as I was wiring things, I'm not sure why I did it backwards, but we'll leave it there for now. Now, I guess if things are plugged in here, you have to reach around the plugs to get to the switch. So I may switch that down the road. Look at what I did. So I love these porcelain socket bases. However, I did not have the clutch set on my drill, and I overran that screw and cracked that porcelain right in half. So I have an extra one, I think, in the garage. It's one of the socket bases that has an outlet on the side, and so that might come in handy. So I'll switch this one out for that. So here's the middle outlet. I just have that wire nutted through right now because I don't have another 20 amp plug to put in there. So I'll get that down the road, and we'll add that in when I can. Got the second middle light socket here. We've got the end light socket there, and then the end outlet here. This is where the fans are plugged in right now. And then I'll jump off of this box once I get the sugar shack built, and we'll wire the sugar shack off of this box right here for lights and for power down there. Well, the sun came out, and look at that, 48 degrees in here. And it is currently 12 degrees outside with a wind chill below 0. Got up to 51, it looks like, a little earlier. Sun makes all the difference. I am doing a lot of projects at the same time today, so this has taken me a long time to get this little electrical thing done. Didn't really take that long to actually do the work, but having to plow snow, we just got a foot of snow last night. Having to plow snow, getting the tractor ready, get compost put in here, getting piping ready, moving the boiler a little bit, and just situating it a little bit better back there. So trying to get everything, a lot of things done today. All right, let's get this cord run out here and get this thing plugged in and see if everything works properly. We'll test the outlets and test the lights out and everything. And that way I'll be able to work into the evening out here in the greenhouse and get some other things accomplished. Well, I found my other outlet, but lo and behold, it must have got jostled around in the drawer for so long. I've had it in there for a year. That's broken too. So I guess we're gonna roll with the cracked one for today, and well, next time at Home Depot I'll grab a couple more of these and replace it. Let's see what happens. Well, it looks like when I flip on the lights, it's tripping the GFCI. So there's something crossed or something touching one of those light sockets. So let's go take a look at the first one and see if we can find the issue. So here's the first one, and I can tell you what's happening. I didn't push those grounds out of the way. So when I put this socket in place, the grounds are hitting the hot terminals, shorten it out. So let's get those out of the way and put this back together and see if it works. Well, we finally have lights in here and outlets. So last year I had extension cords draped through here with splitters and cords running everywhere. What a mess. So this is much, much nicer. I'm happy with how it turned out, and man, I love these lights. These things are just so bright, and it's a daylight color, so I like that. I don't like that yellowy color, especially outside on the greenhouse. So it'll look like daytime in here. So at the end of the video, I'll show you guys some clips of how this thing looks at night. I'm excited for it to get dark now and see how bright it is and how nice it looks in here. Man, what a great thing to have some outlets in here and be able to start getting to work. I've got a table saw I'm going to be moving in here. More to come on that. What kind of table saw did I choose? I did a lot of research and shopping, and I bought a new table saw. First time I've ever owned a new table saw, actually. Everything I've bought has always been used, and so it was a part of a Christmas gift, and I'm excited to share that with you guys. There's definitely been a motive behind the madness here today, getting this done quickly so that I can get to work in this greenhouse tonight, and you'll have to stick around for the next video to find out what's going on in here, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today. Don't forget to hit thumbs up as always, and subscribe if this is your first time checking the channel out. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.